This panel is especially important because Eastern India represents an unique and dynamic retail marketplace. So, our first session will be the new consumer playbook, what shoppers in the Eastern India really want. So, to open up this panel, I'd like to request to come up on stage our Honorable Chairman, Shri Bijou Kurien, sir, and along with, to engaging the entire panel, please welcome Mr. Apurva Salarpuria, Executive Director, Salarpuria Group. Can we have some applause, please? Mr. Shunil Chandra Shaha, co-founder of Blue Tea. Vikram Bothra, MD and CEO of Chandon Retail Private Limited. Daryani, CEO, Indian Silk House Agencies and VCut. And last but not the least, Mr. Sagar Daryani, co-founder and CEO of Momo Foods Private Limited and chairman of Kolkata chapter RAI. So this is the first panel, ladies and gentlemen, what shoppers in East really want. This is going to be discussed, and we have a wonderful team over here. Over to you, our Honorable Chairperson, sir. Indian Silk House Agencies and VCut. We have Mr. Apurva Salarpuria, Mr. Sagar Daryani, Sunil Chandra Shaha, Vikram Bothra. Can we have some applause, please, for each one of the panelists? Thank you so much. Over to you.
So good morning to everybody, and this is our first panel discussion that we are having this morning. We have a group of retailers, and I can't call them from the East. I must say that they have Eastern origins. So they all started their businesses in the East. Some of them have decided to take it across the country. And different categories. We have Darshan from the India Silk House, which I think is what, a 100-year-old business at this point of time. Sagar, as you said, got initiated into retail in his father's apparel store, and then after that decided that food services was a more interesting business, and his chief food critic is his mother. Can you believe it? And then of course we have next to me, we have Apurva Salarpuria, who's better known in the real estate industry, and on the other hand, it's not that he does not have any link with retail, but he is an investor in several brands and retail businesses, and today is spearheading a couple of formats which I will let him talk about. Then we have Sunil, who's done a lot of work in specialty teas, and Calcutta has known to produce teas, and Bombay has known to market teas. And I think he's kind of changed that geography a bit by saying that we can also market high quality teas out here. And last but not the least, we have Vikram Bothra, who's both our Guwahati chapter chairman, also one of the key figures in the apparel and fashion industry in Assam, and knows a lot about the trends and the challenges there. Has been a great support to RAI over the years. So just for a quick introduction to many of the people here who might not know you, can we start with you, Sagar? You need no introduction, but just half a minute on your background and how you started what you started.
So hi everyone, I am Sagar Daryani, the founder of Wow Momo, Wow China, Wow Chicken, and now Wow Kulfi. Like I said, Kolkata has given me my identity, my first few customers, courage, but started about 15, 16 years back, was in my third year of college in St. Xavier's, Calcutta. And trust me, till today, I'd say that, Kolkata is the food capital of the country. And I also say that, no better place to start a consumer business than in Kolkata. Thank you.
Thanks, Sagar.
Hi, very good morning. I'm Darshan Dudoria. A man who's now selling saris and blouses, but I grew up as a lawyer, a corporate lawyer, spent the larger part of my professional life doing that. And then, there are times when you start looking at market and your own life in a very different way. And I saw a huge white canvas in the ethnic wear space. So you saw what Biba did in salwar suits. You all saw what Manyavar did in the menswear, particularly kurta, pajama, sherwani sector. And then I always kept wondering who's doing this in saris. So happy to share, we are now the second largest in India for saris, and we, with a lot of pride, hold that term, delivering culture worldwide, which becomes our key motto to sort of spearhead, Bengal's growth into this national movement. So thank you and happy to be here.
Thanks, Darshan.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Vikram Bothra, and I'm come from the beautiful state of Assam. I mean, we have been listening to Sagar, Darshan, quite old, in terms of retail business. We have been present in the state of Assam since 1880s and serving the people of Assam through fashion, accessories. So we primarily are into large format departmental store. And I mean, one thing that, the way we work or the motive or the objective that we have is that bringing or taking the traditional roots, the local roots to global way. So this is what we have just launched our 3 private labels. We are also going omni-channel in Assam. And very proudly I can say that we are the first go-headers in terms of quick delivery in fashion in Assam. So great to see you all and looking forward to learning from all. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Sunil Chandra Saha. I lead the brand called Herbal Tea. Herbal Tea we are the largest brand in India, which is called Blue Tea. I always wear my brand, लेकिन अभी लग रहा है इतना ठंड की लग रहा है क्यों ही पहना टी-शर्ट. So all the people who are wearing blazers, you have done the right thing. But yeah, so we started in 2018. Last 7-8 years has been a journey. 6-7 साल I have been in corporate. I have studied in Pune. I had no connection with business. We started with, my father was a mechanical engineer in Chitranjan. I don't know how many of you know, Asansol ke paas hai. I started my business from my bedroom, study room, if you can call. And we started with an investment of 50,000 rupees. Now we are touching 100 crores. So that's been, and that's only online. So I think the speech also said that online versus offline. So kind of, it looks like that you are the enemy, you are the competitor, but I think the kind of growth which we are seeing online, so anyone who is starting with lower money can actually build 100 crore brands only online with little bit of knowledge and, probably super grit. So that's what I hope that Calcutta can bring, and I am seeing a lot of Calcutta people are bringing that. Hopefully, we'll share a little bit more in the session, yeah.
Good morning everyone. I'm Apurva Salarpuria. I'm a CA by qualification and I'm Executive Director at the Salarpuria Group, where we largely work in real estate and hospitality. Like Bijou said, that's my primary identity. I am also the chapter president for the Kredai local body here right now. But more relevant to our discussion, I've been an investor in multiple D2C brands, some which may be familiar are probably Epigamia, Paperboat, Bira early on, M Caffeine, bunch of these kind of brands, and also retail formats. There's a very interesting retail format which we have partnered on with some very able partners called Broadway, which is bringing D2C brands offline for the first time in a departmental store format, and would love to talk more about it during the course of our discussions.
So thank you very much. Let me kick off because we are in Kolkata, and this is called the Kolkata Retail Summit, but more specifically for the eastern region. And let me pick on Darshan, okay? Just a simple question. What are the unique things that you see the eastern consumer exhibiting, which you probably might not see in other parts of India? And maybe you can kick this off, and then we can switch after that to Vikram.
Right, so thank you for this, and I think a very interesting one, because Eastern consumers, to my mind, is I think the most unique set of customers you would find around India. So statistically, and you shared a lot of very interesting stats and was happy to hear, but I'll share one little fact which will put things into context. The Eastern consumer, their primary drive is through culture, trust, and storytelling. So there is data to suggest that if you're selling a product with a story, your conversions drive up by 70% right here in Bengal. The average household in Bengal is today spending 15% more than the national household. And here we look at East and we say, "Arey, yahan pe dhanda hi nahi hai, yahan pe to kuch hota hi nahi hai. Who's doing anything in Bengal and Calcutta?" It's a misconjecture to that extent. I think what drives the Eastern consumer is primarily trust. So when we talk about, and so glad to hear about your tea brand and your 0 to, or well, 50,000 rupees to 100 crore journey. But in the online consumer, I think there's a very interesting thing that I recently, someone was telling me about, which is called ROPO, Research of Online, Purchase Offline. So, and the largest bit of that is happening in the East. So East, in that segment of people is contributing more than 40%. So my point being that till now, East works and the consumer in East works purely basis, not discounts. Of course, in the value format, all of that plays. But when you come at a more generic level, I think that one touch point is this trust, culture, authenticity. In fact, what is very interesting is we did a survey with about 9,000 of our own customers, and we realized, and I'm talking about sarees, and just to put things into context, sarees today is an 80,000 crore market, right? So again, a lot of people don't understand, we share so many stats, right? Itna lakh crore, itna ye wo. But if you don't put it into perspective, so the eyewear industry is at 60,000 crores with a CAGR of 6 to 7%. And you've got a sari industry at 80,000 crores with a 12% CAGR, right? And people say, look, sari pehante nahi hai aajkal, right? So these are very interesting manners in how you look at data and how that defines the space. Having said that, I think in that entire scheme of things, East, Guwahati today, by the way, which our dearest Vikramji would second me on this, is today in the tier 2 market, the largest growing established fact in India, right? I'm not talking about any, just East. I'm talking about India. So herein in the entire scheme of things, I think and what are our rentals? 30-40% lower than the national average. You are at a 30% lower rental. So we are sitting, I think, on a golden opportunity. We are sitting on a gold mine, for the lack of a better word. When people say, where is your, typically we are heritage custodians. We like to, we don't call our office an office. We call it a space of intangible and tangible heritage, right? And as heritage custodians, I think people keep saying that, "Arey, aapke paas to koi kuch aapko kabhi bhi hidden treasure kuch mila hai." And I'm saying this is what we are sitting on. Just to capitalize on this is where we are. So the Eastern consumer is that, my point being. And it is very different. You can't buy today an Eastern consumer. What did Mr. Bhatt said when he said, I came in and I loved the culture, the food, the warmth of the people. This is what East is. This is what Bengal is. So I can keep talking about it for more than a while. You've touched a very, very, very soft part of my heart on this, but I'll leave it to you, please, to take it forward. Thank you.
Sure, Darshan. Thank you. And I think, a couple of important points that you brought out was the fact that there is an opportunity to resonate with the customer. In addition to the promise, there is also a story. And the fact is that you're yourself a 100-year-old business and brand, obviously, and starting with silk and continuing with silk in several forms. The opportunity to be able to, and one of the slides that I shared was that you can dream the future that you want. So there is a great opportunity for people like you to be able to actually visualize what you want to create out of the business that you've inherited, and to be able to build a brand that will last more than 100 years into the future. So thank you very much. Vikram, if I were to talk to you, and I think Darshan alluded to the fact that the Northeast, Guwahati, all of that, but being present in that region, and when you think about the consumer, how do you think of the consumer in the East and more specifically in the Northeast?
Darshan's talk was, I was just reminded of my days when I landed back to Assam from the corporates of Bombay and London. And, my father asked me the day I landed that, kya karoge? We had a parental business. It was around 200-year-old business. And I said, Papa, wahi karenge jo 200 saal se kar rahe. When I said this, the one thing which kind of, opened that opportunity in the way that people in Northeast, I mean, since I belong from Northeast, I can keep talking about Northeast the way Darshan was talking about Calcutta. But emotional connect is what people of Northeast or the people of East for a greater ambit is what needs to be, curated. When I landed up, we had a traditional format of doing our retail. And we wanted to kind of reinvent the retail, as Sagar was mentioning in his opening speech, that retail is all about reinventing. So we started to think that how Northeast or the people of Northeast going to respond to retail in coming years, in coming times. And that's when we opened the largest departmental store in Assam in a place where the population was only 40,000. And we opened up a 50,000 square feet store. And we started to fit in every category, not only apparels, we got in appliances, cosmetics, beauty, food, travel gear, whatnot things. It was just to bring the whole world to a place where people can really, can fuel up their aspirations. And this is what gotten into us, and people started to love it. They started to connect with us, which gave us all the more confidence that yes, this format and this connect, that emotional connect that we are making with the customers is really catching up. So now we are coming up with 2 more stores of similar format in different parts of Assam. So the whole connect, that emotional connect that if you want to, if you make with the people there, people gonna surely love it. So I think,
also amplify on, say for example, when you think of the department store customer who comes to your chain, then in terms of between, say, brands versus products, between premium price points versus affordable, between, cutting edge fashion versus the more traditional kind of designs, how do you see the Northeast consumer? Do you see them different from what you would normally see in the Eastern region?
Yeah, Northeast has always been epicenter of fashion, as we know. They are very fashion forward, yet they're very traditional, connected to roots. In terms of brands, in terms of premium brands, I think the categorization would be 30-70. So, for example, if I want to talk about my store, my departmental store, 30% would be the brands like Levi's and the Tommys and the CKs and the US Polos of the world, and rest out would be 70% would be the traditional products. The fact that people want fashion, but they want fashion at a very affordable, at a very Gen Z style, in the way that they want to, just wear it up, flash it up, and then kind of wear it off. So in Northeast, the fashion and the likeness of people regarding fashion, it keeps on changing very fast. They're very price conscious, very price sensitive, yet they know their fashion well. So we as retailers have to be really on our toes every time that we bring the right price, the right fashion at the right price to them, so that we don't lose their likeness. So this is how.
Great. So, and I think that's a trend which is also spreading across the country in terms of fast fashion, affordable prices, D2C moving offline. And I'm sure I'll get Apurva to speak a lot about that later. But let me just take this question on offline, online, merging the two being separate. And I'm using both Sagar and Sunil to be able to talk about this purely because you're purely online. He started purely offline and then decided to also add online, and then how he integrated circumstances during which he started this. And then in your case, you've been purely online and you haven't really done offline as yet. So we'll come to you later. But Sagar, if I were to address his question,
Yeah.
how did you think about moving multi-channel at that initial stages? And of course, later as you go along, creating a more omni-channel kind of experience.
Yeah, before I come to that, I just want to play a bit of a devil's advocate here. See, kya East mein sab acha hai? If you ask me hand to heart, I would say not really, right? I mean, see, East is known for its emotion, East is known for its ethnicity, but East requires more exponential growth. East requires more of, more to exhibit itself, more expertise. Like in the sense that we need, East is very, very good with traditional retail, very, very good with traditional markets. We need more brands to come out. Yeah, we need to say our story in a more bigger and better manner. We need to celebrate more of Sunils who've taken 50,000 rupees to 100 crores, right? The storytelling here, I would say, needs to be more improved, more stronger. See, if no one is talking about you, you need to blow your own trumpet, right? Somewhere I feel somewhere, in being emotional, in being, authentic, we are also a little shy. We need to come out of those shambles. We need to speak out. We need to be loud. And we need to talk about brand building. Jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. If you are not visible, if you're not seen, you will not sell. So East needs to come out of that, that mentality of being shy or being that, good boy in the classroom. You have to be vocal. You have to have the Nikhil Kamath, Elon Musk vibes if you have to really, really take the retail fraternity here to grow. Because this is what I honestly feel, and I want to put across what I feel, because, we always say all the good sugar-coated things, but the reality is that East has so much more to give. We have so much more to, evolve ourselves, and we are a little laggard in terms of where the rest of the country is, because somewhere we are not being outspoken. Now, coming to your question, I think you use the right word, multi-channel, because it's no more about being omni-channel, it's no more about online, offline. I think you have to be where the consumer is, right? And you have to be, see, everything is an occasion. In our case, a person coming to your store and eating a plate of Momo is an occasion, right? Dining in. Now, delivery, ordering that food at home is an occasion. At the same time, picking up Momos from the shelf, keeping it in your freezer, and having it between your Zoom calls, if you have a house party or falling short on food, is also an occasion. So having your favorite food with you at home is a very big occasion. So I think it's all about different occasions, and you have different consumers for different occasions. A lot of questions came into my mind when I was doing the frozen packaged Momos, that, will it cannibalize my QSR business? And then the answer I got after a lot of introspection and a lot of consumer talk is that, everything is a different occasion. So, there is nothing known as online, offline. It's up to you as to how do you make a product, which you have made a brand. How do you make it multifaceted? How are you able to make the consumer consume that same product through different platforms, through different forms? How do you make a product into an industry I mean, earlier when we started, we had, 15 cities, 15 kitchens. Today we have 3 factories. So how do you, I mean, people would talk about a cement factory, but today I'm talking about a Momo factory. How are you able to industrialize your product? How are you able to be available in different channels is very, very important. And that is why, online is a big, big no-brainer. D2C is a big, big no-brainer. Quick commerce has given that boost. Trust me, the 52% of my revenue in the frozen momos and the kappa noodles is through quick commerce. And I think you are able to touch 4,000 touch points very, very fast by just working with some 6-7 quick commerce players. And if you had to build that, through modern trade and through GT and through distribution, it would have taken much more time. At the same time, the cost of experiment is cheaper, because, you launch products in one channel. If it's not doing well, take it off, launch something else. So the trial error becomes faster. For first generation entrepreneurs, trial error is the biggest asset. It's up to how soon can you learn and unlearn. So I think it's a no-brainer that, you have to be where the consumer is. In our industry, it's about, being where, I think in India, we all like following the herd. Jahan zyada bheed hai, aap dekhoge wahan zyada customers jaate hain, because everyone wants to know ki kya ho raha hai. So I think to maintain that curiosity, to maintain that, that secrecy, I think you have to, you have to be where everyone else is, and you have to reinvent, and it's very, very important. There is no online versus offline. I think everything complements together. It's up to you as an entrepreneur. How are you able to make your products complement together? Don't stay backward. As one small example, yesterday I was with one very, very big hospital owner, and we were with an investor. And he was talking more about tech, and how to go asset light. And he was like, in hospital, how can I go asset light? And I got to know of this one example of a startup who has no hospitals, who has no doctors. He just connects patients and uses the spare capacity of hospitals to hire the bed on rent, to get the doctor on rent, and is highly profitable, maybe making more money than the hospital without investing. So, see, I mean, there's no technology here, right? It's just putting an aggregation to everything together. So, there's so much that can be done even in healthcare by being asset light. You don't have to be asset heavy. I'm just giving an example that, there's so much that can be done in different spheres of businesses. You just have to, try and solve for that problem. And I think that is why we all exist as entrepreneurs, to solve for basic problems.
Thank you. And I think when you mentioned about, how do you create a crowd, one of the best examples of crowds are those who sell medicines on pavements. Those who sell shirts at 100 rupees and 200 rupees. And they're also retailers. They don't have a store, they don't have an address. They're on the pavement, but their ability to be able to source, to sell. And I always have this great example of those who sell books at the traffic lights in cities like Mumbai, Bangalore, etc. The person is illiterate, doesn't know English, has got a collection of books, knows that he or she has to carry books for the whole day. So obviously can't take a whole library. It has to be a selection. Figures out what the right selection is. And of course, they are all pirated books, but at the end of the day, the person who's buying is buying it from a car and knows what book it is. But they're also retailers, if you were to come to think about it. And the wave in which they sell umbrellas during the rainy season, they sell, flags during Independence Day, they sell books at some other point of time. But that is the kind of retail ingenuity that India has.
And the best part is, Bijou sir, when I see this, even if I don't want it, I buy it, because at least you have to encourage that guy. He is not begging, he's selling. Gone are the days in India where you have people coming and begging in traffic lights, right? So you start, at least you're encouraging him or her to sell, which is very, very important. I mean, the best thing that I buy from from traffic signals is amazing strawberry fruits in winter season, I mean, you get the best of stock there, and it's an impulse buy, and you eat it in the car itself. Don't even wait to let it reach home.
Sure. Sunil, if we were to come to you, you built a 100 crore business online. And obviously, you have some basic advantages. You're based in the East. You can access teas, high-quality teas. India is a tea-drinking country. A lot of cafes are coming up to be able to drive coffee drinking, but we are inherently a tea-drinking country. On the other hand, if you were to look at it from what we will pay for a small cup of tea in a roadside shop, which is quite low,
No, actually, let me just correct you there. We have nothing to do with Northeast tea and anything. We don't sell any tea which comes from Northeast. So we have created a whole new category which is made out of flowers. और हमारे flowers यूपी में होते हैं, बंगाल में होते हैं, महाराष्ट्र में होते हैं. It can grow anywhere. So we are the first brand out of India who
infusions mostly.
It is, yes. You can actually, so globally we call it herbal tea, but India we call it infusions because we, especially in East, when we feel very bad about it कि नहीं यार चाय तो है नहीं कैसे बोल सकता तू, तो हम we get the most number of questions from Bengal कि नहीं यार ये तो चाय नहीं है, because we are emotional about tea, and tea in Bengal is similar to like India and cricket कि हम लोग तो विराट कोहली को भी cover drive सिखा सकते हैं. But before going to this Sagar's point, so I would like to share a couple of pointers that how we think consumers are. आपको you'll be surprised that हम लोग online हमारा हर एक order 1200 रुपए का होता है, ठीक है. सो 1200 रुपए का चाय आपने मार्केट से, एक सुपर मार्केट से कब खरीदा होगा एक बार में? नहीं. एंड बाय द वे, आप एक बात हम लोग बोलते हैं बंगाल में एफिलिएंट नहीं है या फिर कस्टमर्स उतने नहीं है. हमारे कस्टमर्स जो बॉम्बे में 1200 का खरीद रहे हैं, वही कस्टमर कैलकाटा में भी 1200 का ही खरीद रहे हैं. प्लस 10% ऑफ द टोटल सेल इज कमिंग फ्रॉम बंगाल. So that means East is still responding. See, the upper, the middle class and the upper middle class and probably the affluent class, it's very similar to rest of India. कोई अंतर है ही नहीं. आप भी Netflix देख रहे हो, वो भी देख रहे हैं. आप भी Prime देख रहे हो, वही same series भी देख रहे हैं. Same kind of, the platform. Also, the globalization is so much कि सब इतने similar हो गए. The blazer you are wearing, you can see that actually ब्लैक ब्लू और वाइट में तो पूरा का पूरा पैनल खत्म हो जा रहा है, और यहाँ से अगर सब खड़े हो गए तो आधी जनता ब्लैक ब्लू क्यों? बिकॉज दैट्स व्हाट फैशन इज वेरी फैशन इज सप्लाई ड्रिवन आई मीन स्टैंडर्डाइज नहीं बोल सकते। देखिए वो भी ब्लू पहने, हम भी ब्लू पहने, थोड़ा लाइट है हमारा, बट रेस्ट ऑफ अस इज ऑल डार्क ब्लू। वाई? बिकॉज मेन्स फैशन दैट्स व्हाट सेल्स। ब्लैक इज लाइक स्टैंडर्ड, कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा तो वो ब्लैक पहनते हैं। सो दैट इज व्हाट इट इज। सो हम लोग क्या कर रहे थे, वी वर सेलिंग स्पेशलिटी टीज, जिसको हम बोल रहे हैं इट इज़ नॉट कमिंग फ्रॉम नॉर्थ ईस्ट। वी क्रिएटेड अ होल न्यू सप्लाई चेन। वी हैड बिफोर वी सोल्ड, व्हेन वी लॉन्च्ड ब्लू टी, उससे पहले इंडिया में एग्जिस्ट नहीं कर सकता था एंड करता था। एंड व्हेन वी लॉन्च्ड आवर फर्स्ट एड, तो उसमें जब ब्लू कलर का चाय इंस्टाग्राम पे ऐड पे आया तो एक लड़की ने नीचे लिखा, भैया इसको पी के मैं विश करने बनूंगी क्या? तो उसके नीचे एक और बंदा ट्रोल कर रहा है उसको, दैट गाय इज सेइंग कि नहीं बहन तेरा शिवदत्त मैं हूँ। तो मतलब इंडिया इज फुल ऑफ क्रिएटिव माइंड्स, एंड नाउ टुडे 2025 द हाईएस्ट नंबर ऑफ व्यूज विच आर कमिंग ऑन एड्स आर माई एड्स। तो मतलब मेरे ही एड्स 20 करोड़ लोग देख रहे हैं, उनमें से 20 लाख लोग कस्टमर कन्वर्ट हो रहे हैं एक साल में। So when Sagar was saying that we need to become content creator, I am writing a book which is called Weapon of Ram, going to launch in 15 days. It's a trilogy. For that, because I am an online guy, I don't, I know that there is an offline channel, bookstores हैं, बहुत सारे लोगों को पहुंचना पड़ेगा, पर I hate that channel because वहाँ पे इतना पब्लिशर इतना मांग लेता है, रिटेलर इतना मांग लेता है, रिक्वेस्ट इतना करना पड़ता है, मेल इतने लिखने पड़ते हैं। I am not that person. So what I said कि ठीक है, let me market my own book. 3 months back, I started creating a new channel which is called, which is around the book. Now it has 10 million views in last 3 months, every day one video, and it has 50,000 followers on my page with that shakal. Male don't get followers online, आपको उतना आसानी से मिलेगा नहीं. Any of male content creators out here, try it. You will fail miserably. You will not succeed, that's a guarantee, unless you do extremely right with a whole team. So that's what we are doing with our online business also. We are doing a lot of things right. We are bootstrapped. We are still profitable right from day one, because otherwise तो survive ही नहीं कर पाते. We created our own supply chain. We have a manufacturing center in Madhyamgram, which is about 14,000 square feet. 100 लोग वहाँ काम कर रहे हैं. About 40-50% are women. वो जो so what we are trying to say is कि retailing करना है, but ऐसे, by the way, my experience of retail, my whole life has been in retail, offline retail. I worked for Shoppers Stop, Aditya Birla, I was leading Tamil Nadu, Kerala, I was leading Airtel for retail. So this is my expertise. I am that Arjun who is very good at, Dhanush Vidya. I am fighting with a sword. So this is out of my expertise because I learned it. But what online has done is कि कोई भी young बंदा जो पढ़ रहा है, if you are reading it, if you want to do AI, if you want to do something different, और आप जल्दी कर सकते हो. In 2013, my boss taught me one thing कि phone उठा बात कर. मेल का वेट मत कर, फोन उठा बात कर. एंड दैट्स व्हाट इज जेन ज़ी ऑल अबाउट, कि दे डोंट लाइक ईमेल्स. हाउ मेनी टाइम वी आर नाउ स्पेंडिंग ऑन ईमेल्स? लेसर टाइम. जेमिनी इज गिविंग यू 2-3 पॉइंटर्स कि भैया ये 2-3 पॉइंटर ये बोल रहा है, एंड वी हेट दैट. व्हाई? बिकॉज जेन ज़ी इज कॉलिंग अप और आपको ऑटोमेटेड मैसेज आया था. एंड दैट्स व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू डू. सागर टच अपॉन वन मोर पॉइंट विच इज लाइक कि कार में हम लोग कोई आता है सेल कर देता है. दैट इज नॉट रिटेल, दैट इज कन्वीनियंस. And that's what quick commerce is doing. And that is online, that is not offline. So what हम लोग क्या बेचना चाहते हैं? We understand customers are about convenience. आप ध्यान दोगे, लास्ट 5 साल में हम जितने आलसी हुए हैं, हम अपने बेड से नहीं हिलना चाहते, चिप्स चाहिए. हम अपने बेड से नहीं चला, दारू यहाँ चाहिए, चखना ऐसा चाहिए. आपको जो चाहिए आपको घर पे मिल रहा है. एंड दैट्स व्हाट इज. आप में से कितने लोग अब ऑफलाइन जाके ट्रायल रूम में ट्राई करके खरीद रहे हैं? हम में से तो आई एम श्योर सागर इज नॉट बाइंग दैट शर्ट. उन्होंने वही शर्ट बार बार खरीदा, क्योंकि मैंने बहुत सारे प्लेटफॉर्म पे आपको सेम शर्ट पे देख लिया है, क्योंकि ही नोज हिज शर्ट. सो दैट्स व्हाट इट, एंड दैट्स व्हाट टी शर्ट ऑल्सो. नो, वेरी क्लियर. सो दैट्स व्हाट आई थिंक वर्ल्ड इज गोइंग टुवर्ड्स कन्वीनियंस. अगर आप कन्वीनियंस क्रैक कर सकते हो तो यू विल फाइंड अ स्पेस. अगर आप कन्वीनियंस क्रैक नहीं कर सकते तो कुछ ऐसा क्रैक करो which is towards health, because Gen Z is becoming more and more conscious towards health. We all, I'm not sure about Sagar, but I think we all are on the borderline on overweight side. Let's say मैंने बहुत थोड़ा maintain किया हुआ है, ठीक है, blue tea बहुत पी रहा हूँ, लेकिन other than that, So what I'm trying to say is कि अगर आप health के around थोड़ा भी consciousness रखते हैं, तो world is moving towards healthier version of themselves, and people are ready to pay for it, whether it is protein, whether it is herbal tea. 1200 रुपए का चाय अगर पूरा इंडिया खरीद रहा है, and we are selling 20 lakh customers, and hopefully in next 5 years you will see us probably 2 crores customers and maybe 500 crores. That's it.
Excellent, excellent. So it's a, it's a very different perspective which Sunil has brought, and I think we must understand that, there are different ways to
Before you move, just one last point. हम लोगों को, so we are not offline, ऐसा नहीं है. We went offline and we had great sale offline, Blue Team. We kept at 50 stores. हमने 50 स्टोर में रखवाया, सारा का सारा माल तुरंत बिक गया. But problem is कि वहाँ से 6 महीने में पैसे आते हैं. अब now the system is so, ऐसा होना नहीं चाहिए, because Amazon pays us in 15 days. Any platform, Flipkart pays us in 15 days, Blinkit pays us in 15 days. अगर ऐसा होगा तो कोई भी बंदा जो ऑफलाइन जा रहा है, या तो उसके पास बहुत अच्छा पैसे हो, either I take investment from you or you whoever is ready, I am okay to go. But offline हम तभी जाएंगे. It's not that I don't know offline, और जो बंदे होंगे वो offline नहीं कर सकते, because that's a way probably lot of people know. It's just that the lack of money which people, the online players avoid. आपका एपिगेमी अभी तभी क्या होगा जब पैसे आए होंगे. हम लोग के पास अभी पैसे नहीं गए थे. हाँ, तो वो जो मतलब maybe, yeah. So I mean now I buy Blinkit only. So that's what I'm saying, that I think the online players will move offline when they have cash, because 6 months का cash जो block होता है, and the system of distributors, again same thing. We hate that कि सबसे negotiate करना पड़ेगा, request करना, सर ये 2% कम कर दो, सर 5% कम कर दो, उसमें देखेंगे. और फिर now Modern Bazaar and other players are actually straight away saying कि भैया offline रख रहे हो branding के लिए, पैसे नहीं बनेंगे यहाँ से, 50% इधर रखो फिर बात करते हैं. And that's feels so unfair, and that's why our preferred channel is online, and quick commerce is actually solving offline thing. कि बोलते भाई जब घर के पास ही पहुंचना है तो वहीं पहुंच जाते हैं, और अब तो हम 10 मिनट में पहुंच रहे हैं. Now we are available at 500 dark stores. In next year, in last 6 months, we have grown 30x on quick commerce. 30x. So you can imagine what's happening with the world. People now are remembering at the last moment. अभी अब कोई तो बता रहा था कि stationery, sir was saying stationery is the biggest. लोग पेन भूल जा रहे हैं एग्जाम के दिन. सोचो क्या हाल है. हम लोग पहले ले लेते थे, तो इसका मतलब अब लोग चड्डी भी भूल रहे हैं. चड्डी फट रही है तो याद आ रहा है कि अरे यार खरीदना XYXX. So that's what is the world going towards. So I think convenience will take over very quickly.
Thank you. Thank you. Apurva, if I were to come to you, you've, leave aside your real estate hat, but the fact that you have been investing in consumer brands, you're investing in retail businesses, you've seen investment over a long period of time, you've seen brands evolve, you've seen customer journeys with different brands also change over a period of time. So if you were to reflect on 2 factors, one is the premiumization of the Indian consumer. We were all happy with Amul's, dahi, etc. till epigamia came in. None of us knew Greek yogurt till epigamia came in. So like that, there has been a premiumization drive. There is, as Sunil was mentioning, there is also a quick commerce drive. There has been an era of D2C, and that continues. And now there is D2C moving into offline, which is a newer trend. So when you reflect on a lot of these, what are some of the learnings that you'd like to share with this particular audience across consumer types, across omni-channel, across business models, because you've seen it also as an investor? So what would you like to say?
So, first of all, I'm in the middle of a lot of experts. I have to be a little careful with my words and observations, but I'll give you my genuine kind of almost consumer-like observations. And, we could have plenty of different kind of things that we can talk about. But, one of the things which is very clear is that, today the new form of media changes consumption in various ways. So the way we have social media, nobody is telling us in the form of a newspaper or a news report that this is what's happening and this is the ad. So I think social media, if we were to just pick on that, you know, it has had a big impact on fashion, for example. Uh, the, 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 the same pocket size, people are now wanting to spend on more number of items because they don't want to be seen in the same image, in the same clothing on the images which they are posting. And I'm just giving you some random examples of things. But kind of picking and coming closer to food and maybe where Sunil, I think one big thing which has happened with quick commerce is that, you know, all of the brands on D2C or the new age brands, which they didn't really get a chance to take a leapfrog when e-commerce came in, because nobody's ordering epigamia to eat it next Saturday. I think quick commerce has really turned the leaf for food and beverage brands, and we are seeing it across not only our portfolio as consumers, and we are seeing as a result of that, and you know, it's a cycle which has gotten started. There are, you know, Epigamia, just for reference today, 60% of their sales is on quick commerce. 60% of sales, and it's a reasonably large brand. I don't want to unnecessarily give out numbers, but it's a reasonably large brand, 60% sales. And that has now started a circle of investment. So you are seeing now for more food brands being able to raise money and of course scale up and kind of move on. You know, the other kind of thing, and I'm not sure if Sunil will yet agree with me on this or not, but you know, online sales, at a certain point of time, you start plateauing from a CAC perspective, from a consumer acquisition cost perspective. And there is no easy way to fix that online. And we've seen that across categories now, where brands have sooner rather than later said that, you know, again, kind of building in also the point that Sagar made on the consumer side, that the consumer wants whatever he wants from different channels depending on what his current convenience is. So, you know, with that, brands are having and wanting to go offline a lot sooner, and you see a lot more D2C brands moving offline. And you know, I'm sorry, it might almost sound bringing in Broadway kind of into that. But you know, the idea, the very genesis of Broadway, and I'll just try to explain it in a short kind of thing from the consumer as well as the demand as well as the supply side. So you know, the D2C brands or the young brands which start today, they are able to speak to all of us either through Meta or, you know, Google or any one of the channels which they have. The moment you put them on a shelf in a traditional retail shop, they no longer are able to stand out, and that story is no longer able to reach us. The current form of retail probably is not designed for that experience. It's designed for the brands which are on TV and IPL and things like that. So that's, you know, one part of things that we've solved for, and I'll explain it. The other side is the consumer, you know, is today able to get convenience, is able to get a lot of things where he is. So his reason to venture out is not necessarily procuring a good. It transcends into experiences, it transcends into community, serendipity. Can I discover something new, a new product, a new brand? And I think this is the merge, you know, kind of merging. This is where Broadway is kind of emerged. So to paint a picture for you, you know, a Broadway store is a 20 to 30,000 square foot store, has different categories like a departmental store, fashion, personal care, travel, you know, all of that. But every store has a stage in the middle of it. So there is a salon instead of a trial area for beauty products. Each brand has a screen where apart from putting their products, they are able to, and we train them in a manner, we help them create content for that screen specifically so that they can continue to tell their story. We are enabling an endless aisle, which we are launching soon. So the physical location may have 4 or 5 products, but once you win the consumer trust, can you right there send them the other 25 products that you have? It's also becoming a community center because, like I said, the consumer just doesn't want to come and procure a good. So we are hosting today coffee raves. We had a puppy yoga session last week in the Hyderabad store. We have a huge streetwear connect. So Almost Gods did a event with us last time. We had a styling event with Riya Chakrabarti where she came in with her brand, Chapter 2 kind of thing. So there is a whole, and there is a lot of founder connect which we are able to create. So we host a bunch of events with founders, trials, all kinds of experiences. And I think we feel that there is an opportunity there, whether we get it right or somebody else does, but experiential retail and bringing in, bringing to the forefront brands which people can discover in their journey, I think there's an opportunity for all you folks out there.
For those who don't know, I think, guys, Broadway is a great concept. I mean, Apurva is one of the large investors there, and it's from the family of Kishore Biyani ji, and for all of us, Kishore Biyani has been the father of Indian retail. But you must Google Broadway. If you are in Hyderabad, I think Delhi also, right? You should go and visit their stores. It's a great format, especially for the upcoming D2C brands who get that window, that visibility that is much needed.
Thanks, Sagar, for adding. And I think the important point that Apurva raised is the role of the store in the future. And I think the clear points he's making here, it's no longer just a transaction point. If you want to just buy something, you can sit in your house and buy it online. But if you want to experience more than buying, but to be able to experience the brand, to understand what is the whole trend around that particular season, trends in terms of fashion, then you need to visit a store. So what is also happening is that stores are slowly pivoting to be able to become more experiential rather than to remain transactional. And in a way, how to be able to build a brand in the store rather than the store being a location to buy a brand. So there are several evolutions that are happening in the case of retail. It's not just about the fact that offline is getting replaced by online, but offline itself is reinventing itself to be able to compete effectively and serve a different purpose for the consumer. Like he was mentioning, there are different consumer buying occasions. And for those different consumer buying occasions, how do different channels present themselves? So somebody who's forgotten something, wants it quickly, whether it's underwear, whether it's stationery, or whether it's food, you tend to dip into quick commerce. But if you want the luxury of choice, see what's happening in terms of the new trends in your category, you would certainly like to visit a store. So there are different ways you should be able to think about retail. But having this, very enlightened panel here, it is unfair to not allow you all to ask any questions. So what I'd like to do is to throw open this entire discussion to the audience. If any of you all have any kind of questions, except personal, to ask any of these people, please feel free to raise your hand, mention your name, and then specifically ask whoever you wanted the question. Darshan, you wanted to add something?
Yes, please. I'm extremely teased to just share a few points with what Sunil said, because so we stand for retail. So we are opening a store every 14 days for the last 720 days. And now we're bringing that average down to opening a store every 10 days, moving forward for the next 365 days. So you raised 2 or 3, and I think I'll request RAI to organize a fireside chat. I would love to, because at fundamental levels, certain things that you said, say for example, why were all the men wearing blue, white?
मैंने 2-3 करोड़ के तो शर्ट बेचे हैं सर लुई फिलिप में, तो इसीलिए
fully with you. But ये जितने लोग बैठे हैं यहाँ पे, इन सब के पास 1 मिनट टाइम नहीं है, ये खोलते हैं, इनको सब दिमाग नहीं लाना पड़ता, ये इसके साथ मैच करता है, पहन लीजिए. The only people providing
1 घंटा भी शॉपिंग करेंगे ना तो ये खरीदेंगे.
Only people providing color, my point, the only people providing color are the women here wearing saris. So right, the point goes to saris here, number 1. Right, so thank you for the women wearing saris. And the second very interesting thing of retail, and you look at offline in a very different way. Now, I look at online, so 10% of our revenue comes from online. And I think it's a bleeding business, because I think the EBITDA is a percent and a half. I think for all the, people associated with retail, there's some common touch points that you look at. Say, for example, what is the return on capital employed? What is their EBITDA? And what is the final goal of building a business, right? These are 2-3 paramount things. So till the time, and I strongly feel, so today when we are selling saris, probably a sari store, which is a mom and pop store right next to us, is selling 10 crores. However, we would come and sell 2 crores from a 1,000 square feet space. I don't care, because I am EBITDA positive across all my stores. I have a 35% ROCE on that store. I don't need to plow more. I don't need to do more. And what I think very interestingly, Apurva also bought out was around CAC. Now, I think what online retailers very interestingly do is the CAC is 1,200 bucks, but my LTV is so high, so my effective CAC becomes 10 rupees, but that's all hocus pocus, because every single online retailer, and kudos to you if you're profitable and if you're doing fantastic EBITDA numbers, I think you're here to stay. But I think retail, there is no competition, it's watertight compartments, offline, online, they bring different financial metrics to the table. And I think there's a different, like I can't possibly, this investor of ours said very, very interesting, we were just sitting and he mentioned something about, he missed a round in Zomato at the early stage. So I knew he fundamentally was hurting, right? So he said, इन्होंने क्या किया? इन्होंने कुछ नहीं किया. इन्होंने life सबका बर्बाद कर दिया. जो लोग बाहर जाते थे उनको बाहर जाने से बंद कर दिया. Extra cost बढ़ा दिया. सबको पता है हम ज़्यादा पैसे दे रहे हैं. इन्होंने society में value add किया. एक business to needs to value add. And I'm sitting there, I'm arguing because I come from that school of thought that you don't build a business to make money. You build a business to also create impact. And I truly feel all these quick commerce, etc., and there's a longer conversation around it. Of course, they've given enough employment across. They've raised salary bars from 15 to 35. Unjustly, justly is a whole different conversation. But at a fundamental level, if you ask me, yes, they've made an impact. Like, for example, in what we do, we are making an impact with giving artisanal platform. So I think, offline, online, two different babies. Last point on email, because few of my team members are right here and they were looking at smiling at me. I am the greatest believer in scale. So you again run businesses two ways. One is to build to make money in your small world. The other is to build scale, right? So where you have to be very calculated and you have to be scale oriented, SOP oriented. Your decision making, your empowerment is through your SOPs, right? In that, email is the fundamental thing. Half of the communication, miscommunication happens on phones. Half of the time, I call myself the most glorified, bearded secretary that you can ever get, because all I'm doing is relaying information that everyone is trying to give me to connect the teams together. And hence, I'm the biggest preacher of emails, and the biggest point saying that Gmail has a valuation of $1 billion is for that reason. And he was crushing me on that, and I had to respond. Thank you so much.
Bijou, I just want to make one point. I was just listening to both Darshan and Sunil. I think, from a traditional retail, I mean, in India, if we categorize India as a retail sector or a market, it's always been, retail has always been there. I mean, 500 years back, if we say, we see those merchants selling, loins of clothes and fabrics and whatnot. I think, the debate between who wins the battle, the online and the offline, it's all about reconfiguring the thing. The part of the world that I come from, online barely touches anybody. It's all offline. People there aspire that they in the evening after 7 p.m. when they reach, home from their office, they want to take their kids and wife, drive down to the store, be there, be seen in the public, hustling and bustling, buying things. It's all about experience. And soothing the experience. That's where the point in your presentation, the Bharat thing, which is the big epicenter of retail, where the action is really happening. It's all about creating that experience. I think online would be a subsidiary, kind of an outpost for you to kind of touch that customer who comes to your store every evening, to reach him in that urgent hour of the morning in 8 a.m. that when he's going to office, he reminds that, oh, I need to buy a piece of towel. Can I call up or can I log into his app and just get a towel in like 20 minutes before I leave my office? So, I think we have to think as a retailer, we have to think that offline, online is just a mode of selling and touching the person rather than debating that, where we are kind of make ourselves present.
Correct. So I always have a statement which says that the why of why people buy has not changed. The where and the how is the only thing that has changed. Okay, good. Let's go to the audience.
Hi. Good morning, all. Good morning, Sagar. So firstly, congratulations to you for the brand which you have created. It has inspired actually millions of people across the country. Secondly, thanks to you that you support and encourage the entrepreneurs of Kolkata, and most of the people follow you, and you're a great leader. So thanks for that. My question is, in the food business, mostly the business is now moving towards the delivery part. Almost 50 to 60% business is on the delivery part with Swiggy and Zomato. But the kind of commissions they are taking. So recently I saw one of your articles, you were talking to Swiggy, Zomato, wherein the commission decrease, there was a talk. So you were also talking with them. You were also talking with the Swiggy, Zomatos for decreasing the commissions to have a proper bottom line. So giving them the business, almost around 60% of your, for bringing top line, that's okay. But the margin from them is on a really a lower note. So what are your thoughts on that? Would they go and decrease the commissions, or you are thinking to increase the price of your product to have a better bottom line? Thanks.
Thanks. So, see, I think like food delivery is a lot about convenience, right? And when the convenience is there, the consumer is willing to pay for it. So, you know, when before COVID, 10% of our business was on delivery, right? So today, 50% of the business is on delivery. So on an additional 40% of business, you're paying a 20% commission, which is very, very high. So I think in the last 2-3 years, we all had to learn how to make money out of food delivery, right? That is by menu engineering, where you create products at a lower food cost, because value sells in India. I mean, gone is the day when in India, you know, at $9.99 you would have all you can eat. Today it's all about $99, $199, $2,000. So value for money sells in India, right? So I think what we did is that, you know, we had to tweak our products. We had to create a new range of 99 with a gross margin of 75% to, you know, keep those margins, so that even after, and gross margin after discounts, right? So earlier, if I would sell the same 200 rupee Momo at say 99, today I was selling a new product at 99 and, you know, creating those margins. Number two, you know, you obviously take up your pricing, you give a better experience, you transform packaging. Now, talking about Swiggy, Zomato, you know, see, they also have a particular cost, but at NRAI, so I also head the NRA at a national level. See, we don't get into commercials, but one thing is very clear, that food delivery will only grow if it becomes cheaper. And that is why, you know, what we did is that we brought in Rapido, where they are charging 25 rupees below 400 rupees, etc. And for Rapido to also sustain, they have to, you know, club 2-3 orders together. So they also require our support. The other thing is that, you know, now Swiggy and Zomato, I mean, Zomato has already agreed to share consumer information with us, because it's very important for us to know our customer. So what that does is it reduces your marketing cost. Today, if you, pehle hum andhere mein teen marte the, you would run the same offers, same promos for all the customers. So today, if you know your customers, you know where to give discount, you know where not to give discount. So that's going to reduce your discounting cost. That's going to reduce your marketing cost. Your marketing funnel will get better. ROI will get better. So I think as an industry, as a fraternity, and as a leader of the industry, all of us are playing our roles to make food delivery more cheaper, more reasonable, more sustainable. But yes, in today's day and age, any new player coming in paying 25-30% cannot sustain, will not sustain, and that's an irony. And that is why you need to price it and, you know, take that cream out from the consumer, because, you know, there's no point selling for the sake of just getting top line and not having a bottom line. So you will have to be a differentiator. You know, I mean, I'll give you an example. For the last 2 years, we were selling a Chinese thali in Wow China at 199 rupees. We were not making margin, but the sale was 24%. So we launched a new range. We signed up a brand ambassador called the Great Khali. So we called it the Great Khali Thali, 10 items at 299, but the remaining 5 items were at lower cogs. So we started making margin, and that 199 consumers shifted to 299 because more value for money. But we found a way to make margin. So I think it's not going to come easily to you. You have to be in the process in online. You have to learn how to make margins in online by improving gross margins. The only way you can improve margins in online is by improving gross margin and by reducing your marketing cost. And today, thankfully, Zomato has agreed to give the customer number, and Swiggy will also agree. You know, as a custodian of the industry, I'm telling you, Swiggy will also have to agree. And with the likes of Rapido coming in, and see, today the GCC has 5 aggregators operating. So why can't India have 5 aggregators? Today, it's very monopolistic. So it's up to us that how do we make channels like Rapido thrive? How do we make channels like ONDC thrive? And it will happen. And that will make food delivery cheaper. I mean, on Rapido, there are 60 million people calling for a bike taxi every day. In Zomato, there are 45 million people. That means more people are ordering bike taxi than ordering food. So food needs to become cheaper, and that will only happen with more people coming in. It's a matter of time. It's a part of every developing economy, and I'm sure we'll get there.
Thanks. Thank you, Sagar. Thank you. Any other questions? Because our time's up, we can only take one. There's a gentleman at the back, Rekha.
Hi. Myself, Arindam. I want to question you only. Like, what is your thoughts about loyalty program? When, Gen Z customers are so, like, product-centric, like fast fashion, they're not loyal. Where they're getting fast fashion at affordable price, they're going in that way only. So what do you think about the loyalty program, which is being running in different departmental companies? So what is your opinion and thoughts about that?
So let me give you a quick answer because I know we're running out of time. The loyalty program in its traditional form, I believe, is dead. Okay? Because of the fact that it's a cumbersome process to be able to use to obtain loyalty. And the second part of it is the consumer has also changed because they are now wanting to be, not that they want to be disloyal, but they want to look at several opportunities because places to buy, brands to buy, new formats, etc. There's enough choice which is available. So because of which consumers are also changing. However, the ones which tend to do well are the airlines because there are only a few and you can either plug on one or the other. Hotels also tend to have some degree of loyalty, but retail loyalty is actually dropped quite significantly. Because in most retail loyalty programs, it is always about how much can the retailer get from the customer. And rarely has it been how much can the customer get from the retailer. Whereas in the case of hotels and airlines, the customer gets a lot from the service provider. So I think that's the essential difference.
Bijou, I just want to take one a different nuance on this on this question is that loyalty in retail, as far as the departmental store goes, can stay relevant if you increase their utility value. Let's say for example, a customer walking into my store and he's buying, merchandise worth of 10,000 rupees. And if he's getting, for every 100 purchase, he's getting 1 point. That's a traditional way. But if you are giving more than that, for example, if you're giving a gift hamper, if you are on his birthdays, anniversaries, or probably on, greater festivals, and if you are telling him right at the checkout counter that, hey, if you have purchased for 10,000 rupees, you're gonna get this. If you purchase for 12,000 rupees, you're gonna get this. 15, you're gonna get this. What does that mean? That he needs that interim redemption of his, wallet that he has given to you. So loyalty has it's been redefined. It's become more of instant rather than they're piling it up and then you're kind of giving them cash back. No, it's more of an instant redemption kind of thing, which is now catching customers, bringing customers in, and that's how you're gonna keep hold of your customers and increase that base.
Sure. Thank you. We unfortunately have no time for any more questions, but the panelists are around, so if you want to ask anybody specifically, please feel free to connect with them after the discussion is over. So thank you very much to all of you for that very, very interesting discussion. Lots of facets that we uncovered. And thank you to the audience for the patient listening.
Once again, can we have some more applause for the entire team? Thank you so much.
I'll just like to come in here for a minute. I think it'll be very unfair if we don't thank Rekha and team. I think you guys have done a great job in curating this event. She's been a superwoman, and it's all her hard work that we see the RAI Calcutta functioning, and great show done. You've done it all alone, and I'm very proud of you and your team. Thank you so much.